Hello treasure hunters, welcome to the show. I didn't have a whole lot of time to get anything prepared for today because yesterday was my anniversary. So anyway, I'm going to do something that I had planned on doing here for a while. I'm going to start running these Q&As. I'm going to try and do these about every 2 weeks. And if you have anything that you'd like to hear my opinion on or my thoughts on, post your question down below. Also, maybe if you have a topic that you want to suggest for a discussion in one of my videos, post that in the comment section down below. But basically for today, I've gone back through some of the older videos that I've had, and I've been going through some of the questions. So anyway, I picked out a few of the questions today to run on this show, and we'll answer some of these questions for you guys. So let's get started. These first 2 or 3 questions come from Leanne Minoka. So here's Leanne's first question. Leanne wants to know what I think Forrest means by the words put in. Well, when I hear the words put in the poem, it makes me think how deep is a hole. I think he's talking about the actual spot where he hid the chest. You know, the actual physical location where the chest was placed, or where it's sitting, or where it was even possibly buried. But that's what I think he's talking about, Leanne. Let's go to question number 2 for Leanne. Here's Leanne's second question. Leanne wants to know if I think a lot of people are searching in the wintertime. I don't think so as much anymore. Forrest started being safety conscious after everybody started having accidents and doing crazy stuff. He started posting things like these comments right here, you know, snowy days are a searcher's enemy, tempting nature is a losing percentage, and that the chest is exposed to the elements like rain and snow, and can also be scorched by forest fire. I think this is backed people off a lot from searching in the wintertime because I actually think if there's snow on the ground, you might as well not even waste your time and go out looking. But let's get on to your next question. This was Leanne's third question, and I thought that this one was a really good question. Leanne wants to know if I think that there's any clues in the 5th stanza. And yes, I do. I think this is a very important stanza. Here's the 5th stanza right here. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answers I already know. I've done it, tired, and now I'm weak. I think this is in the poem. I think this is physically where Forrest is telling you he made 2 trips. He's describing making 2 trips. One trip he got tired. The next trip he was weak. Think about your search area and your search location. What in your area, that if you were to hike to or to make this journey to where you'd be tired the first time and absolutely worn out the second time, where would you go in that search area? That's what I think he's trying to tell you with that comment. Let's go on to the next question. This question came from Alan K, and it's actually a pretty decent question. Alan's wanting to know what my thoughts are on why Forrest would mention grizzly bears unless there's grizzly bears in the actual location where the chest is hidden. And I'm not sure what to actually make out of this. You know, I think it originally searchers brought it up, you know, being worried about going out boots on the ground, worried about grizzly bears. And then Forrest started using these as a possible source of giving some type of hints to searchers. I do know that grizzly bears are in the thrill of the chase, but he only mentions them one time, and they're in the Lewis and Clark story, where Forrest and them are having trouble getting a fire started. Alan, I also took the liberty of looking up some of this information because I wanted to be sure that my facts were correct. As far as I know, and this is from what I've looked up also, that grizzly bears are only common to like Alaska, Canada, Wyoming, Montana, and I don't think that they come any closer or any further south than the Grand Teton National Forest. I've added that information up here on the screen for you, but you know, if grizzly bears are a hint, that means it's north, it's not south. So it's a good question. Let's get on to the next one, guys. This next question was a good one. This comes from Dan Hayes, and I had made a comment on the actual question on the video, but let me read this one to you. It says, at IllinoisGhost, if you bury a box 10 inches deep with the top face exposed, then cover the top with something, is that considered buried or hidden? Dan's guess is both, and I kind of think both too. But I think if you need a metal detector, or you got to have a specific set of instructions to pinpoint it, I consider that buried, especially if it's below the surface. You know, if you can't see it, it's below the surface of the ground. I don't care if it's sticks, I don't care if it's leaves. That is, to me, I consider that being buried. But that's a very good question, and I applaud you for that one. Let's go to the next one. This one here came from Steve Klein. I saved this one to go with Dan Hayes' comment, but this is more or less a statement than a question. I guess it is both, Steve, but this is a great one. What treasure have you ever heard of that wasn't buried or covered in some way? Other than an armchair treasure hunt, I haven't. I know like Fenn treasure hunters doing that Billy the Kid's gun, but when you're talking about gold, you're talking about jewels, shipwrecks or sunken. Just every one that I've ever heard of has been buried. Look at the people that found the coffee cans in the ground there in California. They had just eventually surfaced enough to where they got exposed where they could be found. But every one that I've ever heard of that people have had to search for, they have been buried. And that's the reason for treasure maps. You draw a treasure map, it's not really intended to lead other people there. It's to help you remember where you buried it. That's the purpose of doing that. And I think that's the purpose of the poem. I think the poem leads to an exact spot. I love this one. And I want to thank everybody for watching today. That's all I got for right now. But I'm Rick McDonald. You know me as Illinois Ghost. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you on the next video. Also, guys, if you have questions you want to include on the next Q&A, like I said, I'm going to try and run these every 2 weeks. Put it in the comment box down below. If you got something you want to suggest as a topic, please add that to the comment box down below. As you're scrolling down through those, guys, if you see something that you like that somebody else asked, put a thumbs up on it, because that's going to help me decide which ones to pick to put in the next Q&A. You guys are great. Have a good night. Thank you.